There's a public relations push on to convince Coloradans to embrace flock cameras, those license plate tracking cameras used by law enforcement across the state and nation. Supporters say that crime-fighting technology outweighs risks about privacy and immigrants. But the most prominent backer of flock cameras in Colorado, Denver Mayor Mike Johnston, has repeatedly made false or misleading statements about the use of the cameras. Our Spencer Soischer has the latest example.
Denver Mayor Mike Johnston is trying to sell Denver on flock cameras as a crime-fighting tool.
You know, we had a trans woman who was kidnapped and murdered, picked up in Denver, murdered in Lakewood. We solved that crime because Denver and Lakewood could talk to each other across a flock camera database.
That's not true.
He couldn't be talking about my daughter.
Sherry Gattal-Camis now knows the mayor was in fact talking about her daughter, Jax Gattal.
Jack's case is not solved. Flock cameras had nothing to do with finding the perpetrators. Absolutely nothing.
Nobody has been arrested in Jax's case, where Jax's body was found by a business owner near his building months after she was reported missing.
I'm shocked and appalled that a public official would use my daughter and claim that Flock had anything to do with her being found.
The mayor's office is now offering an apology to Jax's mom, saying the Lakewood police case is ongoing, and said in part, quote, "We should have spoken with her family before referencing the case. We offer our deepest apologies for any additional stress this has caused."
I could care less an apology from him because the damage is done. I'm disgusted.
It's not the first time Johnston has made misleading claims as he promotes flock cameras.
There has never been a single migrant in the city and county of Denver who's ever been identified or detained because of flock, period.
Researchers say that claim is impossible to prove.
You aren't able to actually see the result of that action.
And in May, he made another false claim.
Could a federal law enforcement agency use this database to track someone down on an ICE hold and arrest them? No, because the system is not designed to do that.
We then learned Denver's data was previously on a national network, accessible to searches run for immigration agents.
I am appalled.
The mayor's effort to make the case for the cameras, upsetting a grieving family in the process.
It's past the point of an apology.
We asked Lakewood and Denver police if flock was used in their investigation. Lakewood couldn't comment on this because it's an open case there. And Denver said, Kyle, it used flock just to rule out possible leads.
Yeah, certainly didn't solve the case because the case hasn't been solved. We're focusing on what the mayor of Denver is saying about flock cameras because Denver is in a unique position at the center of this debate, and the mayor is the chief proponent of these cameras.
Right, and I think it's important to point out that a lot of people are upset with the mayor right now, and he's getting more scrutiny than maybe other people in the public, maybe other members on the city council would be for what they say. But he's also the one who unilaterally chose to extend the contract for these cameras now twice.
Yeah, he's in a unique position of power as people in Denver debate this issue. Spencer Soischer, thank you very much. Colorado's most intense protests against immigration roundups these days aren't in Denver or Aurora. They're down in Durango, in the far southwest part of the state. The community there is protesting the detention of 2 children who were taken along with their father. ICE has not said why the father was detained or what happened to the children. Protesters camped out at a small ICE administration building in Durango overnight. An immigration advocacy group, Compañeros, says the kids taken are 12 and 15 years old. The group says they repeatedly tried to get the children released to their mother. Durango police tell us they also tried to help get the kids to their mom, but they were informed that that was not an option once they were in ICE custody. There are some tense moments between protesters and federal officers overnight. At one point, video shows a protester, a woman, being thrown to the ground by an officer. The city of Durango says the Colorado Bureau of Investigation is investigating what you see here on this video. The city also told us that the protest at one point, quote, turned violent as protesters tried to block federal agents from taking that family away from the facility. Protesters were eventually dispersed by law enforcement early this afternoon. We talked with Enrique Orozco Perez. He is the director of Compañeros. He said that ICE enforcement outside the Denver metro area has been largely flying under the radar.
We're considered a rural city. We don't have much of a media spotlight. You don't really hear about us. So when it comes to what's happening here, ICE has a lot of room to move around, and almost unknowingly, And as a result, it makes what they're doing a little like scarier, not scarier than anyone else, but definitely scarier. And what we're seeing here is that people aren't as aware of what we've been seeing since January.
We got in touch with ICE about all this today. Spokesperson did not offer a comment today. We will keep you updated if ICE chooses to share its perspective on those events in Durango. Do not be fooled by municipal elections like city council races not having party lines for the candidates to run on. It's big-time politics, right? Aurora's nonpartisan city council has a staunchly conservative majority. Denver's 2 at-large city council members are the loudest progressive voices in city leadership. And that's why there's so much attention on a proposed change to how Denver will pick its 2 citywide council members. Our Angeline McCall looks at the choice that's before voters right now.
On the ballot, Denver voters will say it looks like this. Referred question 2G, asking voters if they want to change how at-large council members are elected. Opponents say this is targeted.
But when you dig into the issue, you look at the proponents of 2G and you look into the money behind the issue, you really see it's mostly just targeting the progressives on city council.
Proponents will tell you it's to make the election process the same.
And so this ensures that everybody gets majority support, which every other elected official has to do.
So what is it? Right now, the 2 at-large city council seats are a pick 2 category. The 2 with the most votes win. 2G will split the ballot into at-large A and B. Candidates decide which one they want to run for, then each race will be determined by a majority winner.
Actually, it simplifies things. Candidates pick which seat they want to compete for, and by the way, 3/4 of all the cities that have at-large members do it in a similar fashion as this.
Councilmember Kevin Flynn says this change is overdue.
But truly, when you're elected by a majority, then you know that you have the support of the majority of the voters.
Opponents, including progressive political strategist Deep Singh Padesha, say it will fuel corporate-backed candidates.
Big money wants to come in, split these up so that they can go after these progressives and they can get their own hand-picked bot candidates into those roles.
Right now, the 2 current at-large members on council are Serena Gonzalez Gutierrez and Sarah Parody, 2 of the most progressive voices on council.
The issue is about money in politics, right? If you would essentially have another really expensive race that progressives have to, get $5 from this person, $10 from this person, have unions coalesce, have volunteers go knock doors. Meanwhile, these corporate Democrats or these moderates and these right-wing candidates, they just have one billionaire, write one check, and then they're off to the races, right?
Councilmember Flynn says he doesn't think that would happen.
If I can win the 2nd seat with only 17% of the vote, and I'm well backed, I can slip in much more easily than if I have to win by 50%.
Ultimately, it's up to voters to decide, as proponents say they want to ensure the election process is the same, and opponents say it would give one side an unfair disadvantage.
Candidates would be subject to a runoff if they don't reach that majority mark to begin with the first time around. Kyle?
So, Angela, I feel like when we look at the current composition of Denver City Council and we talk about those 2 citywide progressives who hold the seats, I guess the thought would be that if they're elected with a really low percentage of the vote, then it might be somebody that not many people know or all that invested in. But if you look at the 2 women who currently hold those seats, Sarah Parody and Serena Gonzalez Gutierrez, they're like the most prominent folks on city council a lot of the time.
Yeah, they're very well known. They have a lot of sort of name recognition across the city, right? And so, talking with Councilmember Flynn, he says that he thinks that those 2 women would still be elected in a majority sort of structure like what he's proposed here. Now, is that the case all around, though? Not necessarily, right, when we look at different candidates who might come in future years.
All right, the choice belongs to Denver voters. Pick up that ballot. I know it's an off-year election. It's not sexy, but vote. It will make you feel big and strong. Angeline McCall, thank you. The city of Denver says a $999 fine is not enough to keep landlords in line with city code, so inspectors are asking to jack up those fines 5x. The city of Denver started a residential rental licensing program this year for landlords of multi-unit properties. Every landlord has to have an inspection of their property and apply for a license or risk citations ranging from $150 first time you get popped to $999 for the 3rd violation. The city says that what big rental companies are doing is just paying the fines rather than making code improvements. So they're asking City Council to increase the fines to up to $5,000 per day. Real estate groups worry about the impact on smaller landlords.
For some operators, that maximum fine of $999 is not enough to incentivize compliance. Some operators may choose to pay the fine rather than correct the issues at hand, particularly when those issues are costly to correct.
The proposed ordinance appears to be well-intentioned, but the potential impacts on small landlords could be serious.
City Council committee unanimously approved raising those fees today. This still has to be approved by the full council next month. Democratic leaders from 24 states, including Colorado, are suing the Trump administration, trying to keep funding flowing to SNAP food benefits. The USDA announced late last week that those benefits will be halting November 1 due to the government shutdown. In a memo last week, USDA leaders announced that a $6 billion contingency fund would not be used to help pay for SNAP benefits this month. The agency says the contingency funds are only meant to supplement congressionally approved funding, not to replace it. The USDA also announced that states that cover benefits with their own funds will not be reimbursed by the feds. Democrats in 25 states are now suing, claiming the USDA cannot choose to withhold that contingency funding. The city of Loveland is extending its temporary overnight shelter at the Loveland Resource Center through the winter, through March 15th. The city's been struggling to find a permanent solution since it shut down its only overnight shelter for adults last month. City leaders say the move should keep shelter space open through the winter months while they work with community partners on a long-term plan. The shelter in town closed last month. The Resource Center was intended as just a day-use space, but now it's serving as an overnight shelter. It can house up to 22 people inside with room for about 20 tents outside. Women and people with disabilities get the priority inside. The city says Loveland's camping ban is still in effect, and the city will be using leftover budget funds to cover that extension of the shelter space. Hurricane Melissa is so insanely strong that some hurricane watchers have had to turn their planes around. But a drone built in Colorado is made for this kind of job.
I live and breathe Colorado Rocky hockey, even though it was pretty tough to be a fan of them back in the day.
Rockies fans know what it's like to suffer through a bad season, whether they're fans of Rockies baseball or Rockies hockey. We remember the Rockies on ice. Next. Company of Colorado just made history by flying a research drone into Hurricane Melissa. It was the first time that a drone captured the full evolution of a tropical cyclone in such detailed data. The S-0 drone was developed by Black Swift Technologies in Boulder. It was dropped from a NOAA Hurricane Hunters plane. It starts out in this little tube, and then when it's in the right spot, the tube falls away and the drone's wings pop out. It flew the entire circumference of Hurricane Melissa, just a few meters above the ocean surface, in about 2 hours' time.
It's exciting going out and doing it, but also we felt like we were gathering really important information. We were able to go directly down to the exact levels that they want to sample at.
The drone documented the growth of Melissa from tropical storm status to a Category 5 hurricane. I know that meteorologist Chris Bianchi is going to keep us up to date on that, but first, closer to home, folks need to cover their tender vegetation.
Yeah, last night of the season for your tomatoes there, Kyle. Yep, that's going to end it for us. Freeze warning. Temperatures will drop back into the upper teens, low 20s for us. Our average first temperature below 25 for us in Denver, October the 26th. We'll do that tonight here on October the 28th into the 29th. Now, that 7-day forecast, might notice a little cool down. More on that in just a second, but then this weekend we warm back up. No meaningful rain or snow chances for us in the Denver area over the next 7 days. However, you might notice this little cool down. That is related indirectly and slightly to Hurricane Melissa. Let's take a look at the whiteboard here. I want to show you a little something different to give you an idea about what we're talking about when it comes to Hurricane Melissa and its influence. And bear with me. This is admittedly one of the worst maps of the United States you'll see drawn. I did this in about 3 minutes. But general idea here, area low pressure, area high pressure out here. This is the one that's going to be mainly influencing our weather over the next couple of days, keeping us dry. Hurricane Melissa, way down here, this storm is going to move up to the north and east, and then got an area of low pressure here. That area of low pressure, this one across the Midwest. By the way, this is one that brought us the snow last night. This is going to get strengthened indirectly here by Hurricane Melissa. The result is this is going to move just a little bit to the west, and that's the reason why we're going to be talking about that cooler weather for us on Halloween here in Denver. Temperatures only topping out in the low 50s, partially, indirectly, and slightly because of Hurricane Melissa.
It's a nice map, Chris. Denver's Park Hill Park is now open to us common folk. The former golf course turned citywide development controversy. You know the spot. Voters directed the city to purchase that huge property along Colorado Boulevard at 35th Avenue and turn it into open space. Well, it is opening to the public now with walking trails and a dog park. The city's working on a long-term plan for the space. They'll soon be getting community input on finalizing designs. At 155 acres, Park Hill is now Denver's 4th largest park.
The Rockies were really bad. They were perennially the worst team in the league.
Not the Rockies you're thinking about. Other Rockies that were terrible at a different sport. A look back at Rockies hockey next. The Colorado Rockies are not the first team of the same name to plumb the depths of sports futility. The Colorado Rockies of the NHL had a short, inauspicious tenure in hockey, but they're still remembered, still have some diehard fans in town. Our Amy Hunter found them.
Fans may root for the home team, but no matter the sport,
Devils hockey's in town.
There will always be those rooting for the away.
I enjoy hockey in general, but it's extra special when my Devils are in town.
For Colby Alexi and Jeremiah Garcia, tonight is the one game this season they can see their team play in Colorado.
We all know how hockey tickets have gotten. The fact that I only have to splurge once a year makes it pretty nice.
Although it's not the home team, cheering for the Devils in Denver isn't as out of place as it might seem.
Listen, we're a part of Colorado hockey history too.
Back in the mid-70s, the New Jersey Devils went by a different name.
We were the first NHL team here in the state.
They were called the Colorado Rockies.
That's literally off the ice at McNichols Sports Arena back when they didn't have the big nets, so better pay attention back in the day.
Martin Richardson grew up going to Rockies games.
Probably junior high at the time. There were a lot of rumors an NHL team would come here. So it wasn't a total surprise, but I was blown away and super excited, that's for sure.
He says fans loved the team when they were there.
It was a rarity to have a sellout at one of those games. I really think it was because the Rockies were really bad. They were perennially the worst team in the league.
After just 6 seasons, it was off to Jersey, leaving some fans without a team.
So I didn't really root for the Devils, not like I didn't like them.
At least for a while.
I'm full-on giant Avs fan.
Others stayed loyal to the Colorado Rockies, even if the team's new home was nearly 2,000 miles away.
Even though the logo and the city has changed, it's still the same team.
For Next, I'm Amy Hunter.
Just an unbelievable, sweet uniform. The NHL Colorado Rockies and New Jersey Devils fans held a little meetup before the game tonight. They do this each year, making the most of the one game they get per season. Marilyn has your feedback. We are back with that next. Is it about Bianchi's map? I think it's about Bianchi's map. That's next. Tons of viewer feedback tonight on meteorologist Chris Bianchi's hand-drawn weather map, and they love it. Royce says, you can tell Chris Bianchi the map he drew looks like the map Stormy Rotman used back in the 1970s. It's awesome. Don says, Chris Bianchi, I am a 50-year-old resident of Colorado, but you destroyed my home state of Michigan. But I understood your explanation. Michigan's just gone. And Mike Nelson writes, sheer brilliance, love the whiteboard. Yes, the Mike Nelson. See you next time.